That's mega. Welcome to 2025, the year that this car drives. I promise you that that will happen by the end of this year, if not a hell of a lot sooner. In this video, we get a bunch done, mainly around the water system, as well as finishing off that digital dash installation that we started in the last video. Some brackets get made, all that kind of good stuff. There's some minor fabrication. I wouldn't call myself a fabricator, but there is some fabrication in here. So let's just jump straight into that and get that all sorted. Gonna hit it with some brake clean, basically get off any dust, anything like that. We'll give it a bit of a quick scuff. So it's gonna be some weld through primer that we're putting on here. That should protect us enough from the elements, I guess. There's actually a bunch of surface rust already on the sheet that I cut out, so we're gonna have to do that as well. I'm actually gonna cut the sheet metal a little bit more just for a nicer finish, I think. So these pads are awesome. I'm going to spray it with some brake parts cleaner, just scuff it up a little bit, make sure that we're all... Whoa! So that will give us a nice surface to adhere the weld through primer to. Just going to grab a file and take that back a tiny bit. I just want to... All right, so then grab a shop towel. So we have to cover this, and I'll basically move this along with while I'm spraying. I'm okay with it getting over the edges. This is all dirt anyway, so we should be okay there. It's more or less making sure that this is sealed. Like I just mentioned, the piece of 18 gauge steel that I got, it's already flash rusted, so we're just going to give it a quick cleanup and see how we go. You can see that it already kind of, yeah, so we're going to clean that up both sides and then coat it with some etch primer. So I'm going to let this dry and then come back later today and we're going to actually weld it in. As you can see, I cut out a bigger hole just for positioning things, so make it a little bit easier. Pretty happy with that. I am super happy with how that's come out. It's very strong, it's very in there. I'm going to clean up the grinds and then basically just steel it black, and then that's the dash mounted, which is awesome. So yeah, super happy with that. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how that's come out. I'm gonna take that off now, and I'm gonna coat it with some black steel it, and then let that sit, and we're basically done there. Yeah, so I'm super happy with how that's turned out. I'm gonna let this dry overnight, and then tomorrow night I'll probably install the dash, get that all wired up, and we'll see how it all lights up. I'm super excited for that. Positive, negative. You know, I'm pretty sure this floor is also dented and pushed up. Yeah, big time. All right, negative. So I'm extremely happy with how that's looking. That is pretty solid if you ask me. So I'm going to figure out a way to mount this water pump today. Basically, I want to get the water pump mounted, the exhaust manifold back on the engine, and just have a few ideas float around, see where we land there. We've got a decent chunk to do. This is my son's Lamborghini. I need to figure out whether or not this is the right spot for it. And then I also need to take the wheel off and potentially put it inside this bit here vertically. So we're gonna get straight into it and just get this car up on jack stands, and then we can take this wheel off and we've got a lot more room to play. So my goal is to remove this wheel and basically inspect the wheel well and make sure that we can in fact mount the Mishimoto water pump. So my goal has always been to mount it here. I just need to make sure that I can actually fit it width-wise, that it's going to fit here. If we have to make some cuts, it's okay. And then I also want to make sure that I can in fact run it flipped. I might want to run it upside down just so that the outlet hose runs down and around. So we're just going to get that and start positioning it up and see where it actually does fit. And we'll most likely need to make a bracket. So this is kind of the position that I was hoping. This hose, I don't know if it's going to be able to do a 90 and keep within the factory fender. That's the biggest part of this. I could potentially run it up higher, make a bracket off of there, but again, like as soon as I get to here, that's where it's great, but I can't run it that high. So I was thinking about whether or not I could mount it like this. That might give me some more space, I don't know. Otherwise, actually running it backwards. Again, a 90 up and over, maybe. This being the inlet, I want to have it directly from the fill point. So it'd be great if I could mount it this way. I just don't know if I can mount these pumps vertically. So there is also the option of mounting it this way. And so what that does is we would have to build a bracket, and we could basically mount it off the side here, inlet through there, and then from there straight to the factory, kind of where they run the lines. So I guess a lot of people probably don't know this, but from factory, the N54 has an electric water pump which is controlled by the DME. Now we're going to actually hijack that using this connector here. So one is battery 12. So first position, you've got a 30 amp fused 12 volt from the battery. Second position is a signal wire from the controller, probably rated to about 12 amps, I assume. Third is then a ground wire from the controller. And then 4 is a ground to the chassis itself. So we're gonna basically plug this in there and make sure that we can unplug and plug it back in, and we'll get that in the right position. I just plugged it in, and I actually really dislike the fact that the actual plug clip is on the bottom there. So that's gonna be a pain. I'm gonna have to make sure that I have enough wiring slack so that I can actually unbolt it and then unplug it. Because yeah, unplugging that with it bolted up is just gonna be painful. So I just installed the rear bumper. Now this is the narrowest the car is ever going to be. We are going to widen it at some point. We'll talk about that later. But I just want to make sure that we can actually fit this with the narrow body. That's a very important part of this basically idea is that it is as sleeper as possible and we're not cutting for the sake of cutting. We are going to have plenty of room. I'm going to make up a plate, and then basically we can start figuring out how we're going to mount it. So I got some 18 gauge steel that I'm just going to use. This is from the dash. I will most likely go up to 1/8 inch. I think that that's probably more sturdy for something like this, but I can get the overall shape and the mounting position sorted on the actual body itself. So I'm going to get that going just so that I have a template. We may actually get a send cut send 1/8 inch bracket made up, so we might be able to put it into CAD later and get that going. So we're just going to position this up against the body and see where we're fitting. So yeah, this is definitely going to fit exactly where I'd hoped. So we're going to need to do some standoffs. That's fine. But ultimately we're in the guard, everything. Perfect. Alright, so I got some 1/8 inch steel from a local steel supplier. I'm going to weld in these nuts so that I basically have captive nuts, and this will help installation, like removing and uninstalling this water pump without having to get, you know, a spanner or a wrench behind it, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm just gonna zap these in and we should be good. I am extremely happy with that. So I'm just going to give them an attack on each side. Maybe I'll do a beat around. I don't know, but yeah, super happy with that. Everything came off nicely. We need to get some measurements off of the actual chassis, and then we'll grind out some of that and actually tack this into position on the chassis. All right, so I've cleaned up where we're going to mount it. I'm going to hit this with some weld through primer. We're going to hit this with some weld through primer on the back, and then we'll basically just position this up in here, make sure it's all level. All right, so I've mounted everything up, including the pigtail. Pigtail is going to go to the left. It'll run through with the headlight, the tail light harness, and then yeah, we're just gonna buzz that in right there. So I'm gonna leave enough room on either side. Basically, want to tack here. Want to join this part and join this part. Once I join this part, I should be able to remove this and then I'll run a bead along there, and then you obviously can't see, but on the back side as well. And that should get us pretty nicely in there. So I was just about to tack it in, and then Justin messaged me, the one with the yellow K24 swap Porsche, and basically asked if I could trace out a bracket for him. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to throw it on a piece of cardboard, and that at least saves the dimensions for him. So yeah, I'll get that going, and then I'll basically just do the rest tomorrow. So yeah, just drew this up, marked the center punches. I grabbed a set of these. They basically are the right size for the hole, and then you can line up the exact measurements correctly. So yeah, this lines up perfectly in there, and I'll get a second one made for Justin so that he has one ready to go. So I'm just going to head inside, I'm going to have some dinner, get the kid off to sleep, and then I'm going to come back out here and finish welding in that mount so that we can at least position the water pump in there. And then we're going to look at tackling the radiator mounts there, just to figure out from the photo references that I took while I was looking at Justin's car. So we're actually going to line up and figure out where the radiator is going to fit. We also received the SPAL 7.5-inch fans, so we're going to install them on the radiators and make sure that everything lines up where we expect them to go, and then we're just going to zap them in. So hopefully we get a bunch done tonight. My wife woke up this morning and she definitely has COVID-19. We did a test, so I'm bound for it. I'm dripping, it's not even hot, so my body is fighting something, but we're going to keep going. I need to get this done. So I'm back out here tonight. I definitely am getting COVID for sure, but I'm going to keep moving because I want to get this welded in place. I'm actually not going to edge prime it. I'm just going to weld it in place, and then I'm just going to steel it from the back and whatever I can get in. So steel it should be fine there. I'm not too worried about it. I'm actually also probably going to need to make a shield for it, given that the tire is right there, or the wheel is right there. So we'll get into that too. But let's get it mounted up. Let's get it tacked in. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm just waiting for the angle grinder battery to charge. So in the meantime, we're gonna unbox the SPAL fans and we're gonna mount them up to both of the radiators and kind of get them in rough position based on the photos that I took of Justin's car. So yeah, as you can see, super small, super compact. These are 7.5-inch, and these are pusher fans. So the rotation, it'll pull in air from this side and push through the radiator. So let's actually mount it up to the radiator, at least the one that I've already got going, and see how that fits. Alright, I'm very happy with how that's all stitched in. I'm going to hit it with some steel it, and then that's that job done. Alright, I've given that a second coat, and then basically we just wait until tomorrow and we can actually reinstall the water pump and make sure that we got everything correct. I mean, it's kind of too late now, but yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm absolutely wiped. I'm drenched in sweat. I need to go inside. It's about 8:30 p.m. and I need to have a shower and just go to sleep. I'm pretty sure I've got COVID, so we're just gonna ride the wave with that, but I'm really happy I knocked out that water pump bracket. That's another big thing off the list of things to do. The next two brackets we have to make are the 2 radiator brackets, and we'll get that done maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. I really don't know. Yeah, let's see how I feel tomorrow. Today's job is to get the water pump reinstalled on that new bracket that we just made, get the car back on the ground, and I'm just going to move things around so that I can actually access the front of the car, and that'll give us room to start mocking up brackets for installing the radiators. So we're just going to jump straight into it today. I'm really not feeling good. I don't know how much energy I'm going to have, but we're just going for it. So there's plenty of room here for a 180-16 AN fitting, which is exactly what we're going to run. Again, this is a narrow body, so when we do eventually widen it, this will fit even better, but I am super happy with how that's going to fit in a narrow body. So yeah, hell yeah. So you're going to find the passenger side one of those. It should be in a box somewhere, but we've got plenty of room now to mount that up there and position the radiators. So I'm going to go and grab the front bumper. It's basically a fiberglass bumper that slots in. Oh, nice. My shock is leaking. Great. Never seen any road time and the shock is leaking. So yeah, we're going to go get the front bumper it's hiding and fit that up along with this headlight bucket bracket. And then we can get mocking everything up. I think I might want to start on this side, given this is where the original cooler would go, and then work my way around, or I start on the driver's side. I'm not sure yet. But first, we have to get the bumper. So I have a little storage situation back here. Here's the bumper. So I'm going to grab this down and we can then reinstall it. Alright, so this bracket, it looks like it's actually got positioning for the AC. So I'm going to put this on and then we might have to take them off. Or we can try and utilize them as the bracket for the radiator itself. That's like that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to take these off. They are well and truly going to be in the way of where we need to mount the radiator. Radiator and pusher fan, basically cable's going to go, through there. I want it about here and about that height. I'm going to cut up some 16th gauge material as a strip just so that I can get the length where we want it and kind of position it based on the seal, and then we can go from there. Let's talk about how we're actually going to funnel air into that pusher fan. As you can see on this RSR style front bumper, you have what is usually typically used for brake ducts. Now my goal is to actually get some aluminum sheeting and basically direct air, not funneling, but direct air into the pusher fan. We're also probably going to investigate a flat bottom for this part of the splitter. Like there will be a splitter at some point, whether it's with this bumper or another one, I'm not sure. But yeah, the goal is to use these brake ducts as fresh air coming in while at cruising speeds. And we also have this entire duct. So there's a lot that we can do with this. It may require us to cut into here, but I may run another radiator here. But that will most likely be just for the water to air intercooler. So we'll get there. For now, it's just going to be an open hole, but at some point there will be another radiator in there. While I wait for a few things to charge, we're actually going to pull the car out into the sun and just see it for the first time as complete as it is right now. I'm very excited to get it out in the sun and see what it looks like. Seeing it in the sun for the first time in a long time, wild. So seeing it like this makes me really want to get this thing driving. I want to get the doors on, all of that good stuff, but yeah, like this is mega. So the rear still needs to come down a bit, but honestly, it doesn't really get much better than this for the shape. I am super happy. Guess this kind of puts it all into perspective. So much work has been done to get to this point. We still got a ways to go, but you know, every step is another step closer. And I'm super happy with that water pump location. So with the car out there, I can focus on cleaning up the garage a little bit, get ready for the new year, and just hammer down. I'd love to get some storage. I'd love to actually move everything onto the back wall, so my tool bench and the tool chest, the welder, etc. But I just don't think today's the day for that. I'd have to disassemble some stuff in the garage, which isn't not a possibility. I'm still not feeling 100%, so I think maybe that'll come later. But in the meantime, I am just going to clean up the garage and get it ready for the car to come back in. So I definitely got sidetracked. I decided that I was going to test what the wheels that I am going to build will look like. Yeah, I am well and truly hyped on that. So these are going to be 15s. The goal is to run 15 by 14 or 15 by 13, maybe even 15 by 15 in the rear. And then the front will be 15 by 9.5, maybe 10. So yeah, that kind of gives you an idea of where we're headed this year. I didn't expect it to rain. I just pulled it in enough. Still cleaning up, but we've got a bunch cleaned up here. We're going to move all of this back. We're going to take all this out of the packaging and get everything situated. So yeah, you can definitely see the vision here. We're going to do a beefy bottom and then a tab there. We'll weld that in and it'll basically bolt using the fan trap. That should give me enough. This might still attach to the headlight bucket. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if it's necessary, but it might be. I could fab up a little quick mount for that too, but I do want to put it up against the chassis itself. So that bottom mount, we need to stitch it in. We might put some bracing on either side, we'll see. But I'm gonna leave it here for now. We've made a bunch of progress. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, so we'll transfer it over. We'll transfer the bottom mount to 1/8 inch steel. That'll get us in the right position, and then we'll basically keep that as 16 gauge. I think that should be plentiful. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out on the driver's side. We'll replicate this for the passenger side, and then we can start planning hoses. I'm going to end the video here. We got a lot done in this video. I'm super excited about the water pump bracket and how that all turned out. I think the car is going to look great, and it's going to be very sleeperish. So we still need to build up the radiator mounts. We'll probably do the rest of that in the next video, and probably start plumbing as well. I still need to figure out the fill point and how I want to do that. I want to keep that in the back of the car, basically for a myriad of reasons that we can get into in the next video. I'm super grateful for everyone that's tuned in, that continues to follow this build, and I'm really excited about what this year is going to bring. 2025, this year, we will drive this car. I would love to have this car ripping around the block by the 1st of May. That is my goal. If we succeed, I will be super excited. If not, we'll be a hell of a lot closer to that. So in saying that, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for liking. Thanks for commenting. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. I know at the end of the video is probably not the right place to ask, but seriously, hit that subscribe button. Make sure your notifications are turned on, and we'll see you in the next video.